Investing psychology, wild predictions, insightful analysis, and realistic outlooks. Today, you'll see popular technical analyst Gareth Soloway discussing the future of Bitcoin and crypto on the Paul Barron network. We'll present to you his unique insights and statistical predictions in an easily digestible way, and at the end of this video, you'll have first-hand information and unique insights about the possible future scenarios for Bitcoin and other crypto markets. Here's something that you don't see every day. During this interview, which aired on March 1st, Gareth charted a possible future price path. And guess what? Within the next 3 days, Bitcoin followed his predictions to the letter. However, just after a few days, in another surprising move, Bitcoin crashed by 5% from $23,000 to $22,200, all within a 2-minute window, proving that no matter how incredible you are with the technical, crypto can always bash you in the face. Now let's hear Gareth's insights.
Yeah, so I do think that we're going to see some downside in Bitcoin here, and we've already seen a little bit of a pullback off the 25,000 marker. But let's take a look at the chart and see what we have in store here. So if we look at the chart of Bitcoin, we can see that the recent highs mirror the high pivot from the August period, right? So it makes a lot of sense why that was going to be a pivot resistance point. And so what we can do is we can basically take a trend line, put it right at that high, and it's the highest point going back to when we made the cycle lows on Bitcoin here, and that's where we stopped out. So what this tells me is that you have a lot of resistance around 25,000, 25,300, but then your technical support is around 22,300. So my guess is we'll retest 22,300. The big question then becomes, do we break that level? I am in the camp that eventually we do break that level and we trade back to about the 18,400 level, which was the midpoint here of this kind of W pattern bottom. So again, I am in the camp that we will see some trouble for the economy here over the next, at least in Bitcoin and the stock market, the next few months, I do think a retest of the October lows, which then brings Bitcoin back to about 18,400.
Obviously, what you hear from Gareth was not what you're expecting to hear. Am I right? Because he's in the camp that thinks that things will get worse before they get better. Or in other words, he delivers that the Bitcoin prices will retrace back to 1800 before the start of another bull market. As he pointed out, there was a significant resistance around 23,000 to 25,000 levels. And in his opinion, if we are able to break that level, we could trade back to 18,000 price level in the next few months. This video aired in the first week of March, and as of April 3rd, Bitcoin has already broken the 25,000 resistance level and has reached 28,000 price levels and has stabilized around that level for a few weeks now. Take a look at how Gareth accurately predicted that this would happen.
So you're absolutely correct, is that you're getting this consolidation in the charts, and that does seem to be a pivot point. And the reason it's a pivot point is that if we look at the daily chart, and I can throw my chart up again here to take a look, is we clearly see that this area here, that first kind of little topping area, that's right at 23.8. And so the idea here is that if you can recapture that high, it starts to tip the scales towards the more bullish side. Now, again, if we put that trend line in here, right at 23.8, you can see right now we are just below it, but you could be putting in a little of a consolidation that could be setting up for another move to the upside. So this is kind of one of those scenarios where as a trader, I sit back and I watch because I'm not good enough to kind of determine which direction it's going to go, but it will be interesting. And I agree that if we get back above 23.8 and it can stay there, let's first say for 24 hours, it then increases the probability of us making a move up again and retesting the 25,000 level.
To put it in his own words, if we could recapture the 23,000 level, it could tip the scales toward a more bullish side. And that's exactly what has happened. Will we go up for a new high from this 28,000 level, or are we in for the bottom Gareth predicted? I'm sure we can come to a reasonable conclusion once we listen to what Gareth has to say. Next, Gareth shares his insights about the largest altcoin, Ethereum.
But at least in the short term, we're kind of stuck in the same kind of parallel channel that we're seeing in the Bitcoin chart. And what I mean by that is if we kind of draw a trend line like this, we can bring this down here as well and notice that we're trending sideways to slightly up. Now, the one thing I think is a positive here in the near term, and this is just talking over the next few days to a week or so, is that we had this strong move up where we tested the high, and now you are consolidating. So there is a chance that we could make another attempt, just like with Bitcoin, at the recent highs. If we do that, and we can puncture it, you then have the possibility of going up and retesting that 2,000 level. Now, interestingly enough, the 2,000 level was the highest point on Ethereum since the lows were put in, right? And that's going back to basically August of 2022. Interestingly enough, Bitcoin has already tested that high from that point. Now, granted, Ethereum made a much bigger percentage move, but it'd be interesting to see if Ethereum still needs to test that level before there's any chance of a corrective move, since Bitcoin already did do it. So it is something I'm watching. I would be, based on the current chart in the very near term, I would be slightly bullish on Ethereum here just over the next few days.
Again, here's another prediction that Gareth got right. During the interview on March 6, he points out the trend of Ethereum going in parallel lines with the Bitcoin price charts. He also pointed out that since 2000 was the highest price level Ethereum reached since the June and July lows of the previous year, Ethereum will have to break that resistance level before there's any chance of a corrective move. And Gareth's prediction about being bullish on Ethereum has been proven to be right by now, as Ethereum has stabilized around 1,000–1,700 price level. As the prices are consolidating around the current price level, all we have to do now is keep our eyes on the prices until they reach the resistance level of 2,000. Gareth then moves on to share his insights about the future of the crypto industry, the FTX scandal, the upcoming regulations, and the general direction the crypto industry could take in the coming months.
I think, again, with crypto, the key is this, is right, the further away from FTX we get, and the less there's new FTX scenarios, right, where you scare the market and you worry, people start worrying about, their money and their exchange accounts and so forth. I think the further away we get, the better it is for crypto, right?
On the positive outlook side, thankfully the FTX is now behind us. And as Gareth mentioned, the further away the FTX scandal is, and as long as there won't be any new FTX scenarios, the future is going to be bright for cryptos.
Now, the big headwind is going to be, when are we going to get the judge's decision on Ripple? When are we going to get the regulation on crypto and find out exactly what it is? I mean, that's kind of the dark gray area here in the cryptocurrency markets. But I think investors are gaining, at least the retail crowd is gaining more and more stamina to be back in this market after they really got scared when FTX collapsed.
The upcoming regulations to the crypto industry will mostly ensure that big money and investors will enter the market, and this will bring the much needed capital inflow and the stimulus the crypto industry needs. It will also encourage the retail crowd to get in after they were scared off by the FTX scandal. Finally, he goes on to explain the psychology of the market and the investor sentiments. His insights will be incredibly useful for you, so keep listening.
The Wall Street cheat sheet, you've seen this before. Where do you think we are in this thing?
I think right around that bounce, the bounce with anger is kind of where I'm leaning towards where we are, that kind of orangish, yellow, or yep, exactly right there. So I still think it's going to fade. And I'm still in the camp that, as of now, I haven't seen enough signals to make a call that the lows are in. But again, when you're trading at 16, 15,000, I don't think there's that much more to go to the downside. I mean, maybe 12 to 13, maybe worst case scenario 9, but for sure we're in that anger area, right? I mean, I think FTX really was one of those scenarios where investors were like, what the heck? This is messed up that people are, basically lying to our face and just taking money and running. So I do think that we're close. I still think it could take another 6 to 12 months for it to bottom out, but I think that, again, the downside is somewhat limited when you look at the bigger move from 69,000 all the way down to 15.7 or so.
Gareth believes that we are in the anger and depression cycle, according to the market psychology cycle. Of course, after the FTX scandal and the recent banking crisis, many crypto investors are frustrated about the future of the market. However, Gareth is certain about a crypto bottom out within the next 6 to 12 months and predicts that the downside will be limited as we are still near the all-time low levels. What do you think about his view? Are you in the same camp as Gareth? Or do you have something else on your mind? Comment down below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful views just like this. Thanks for watching.